Hey peeps. Just kidding. This is the review of the Aztec software interdisciplinary material. We're continuing with the mathematics section. We just got done with a few introductory pointers or notes to this section, and we were just going over a few important formulas used in mathematics as well, which like perimeter, adding all the sides, so like adding the different sides of a shape, and area would be multiplying the length times height, um, for like a rectangle or a parallelogram. And then if you have a triangle with a right angle, you multiply base times height and you divide by 2 for triangle. In order to find the distance between two coordinate points, um, uh, or the length of that line that connects the 2 points, you take the square root of the following: x2 minus x1, parentheses squared. So the difference between the x values squared plus the difference between the y values squared, so y2 minus y1. So you take the square root of the cubes of the sum of the cubes of the differences, you will find the distance. So let's say you have the points 1, 2, and 5, 6. You would go 5 minus 1 in parentheses squared plus 6 minus 2 parentheses squared. You would add those two digits, okay, and then you would just take the square root. It's very simple and straightforward. So it would just be 5 squared plus let's see, oh gosh, I lost my memory, but yeah, if you write it down. And then the next formula we said was it's called the Pythagorean theorem, which is basically you're finding the length of the third side of a triangle if you know the two sides. And this is for right triangles. If you have leg A and leg B, to solve for the leg C, which is the longest side or the hypotenuse, you go a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So c equals the square root of a squared plus b squared. Next point, okay, which this one I had to actually look up or Google because I did not even remember learning this. It said vertical angles are when each of the pairs of opposite angles are made by two intersecting lines. So which means that vertical, like they're opposites. So if you have two intersecting lines like this, the two vertical angles are just the angles facing each other, or like opposites. So they're basically the same angle, just like a mirror reflection. So those are called vertical angles. I don't know if I just didn't remember that term. So each of the pairs of opposite angles made by two intersecting lines are called vertical angles. Now, next, when reflecting a figure over the x-axis, the y-coordinate changes its sign, obviously. It becomes negative. So if you have a shape with the C, what is it saying? Okay, so it's saying that if so one point, if it's at -4, -2, I guess the third point of the triangle, when you flip it over the x-axis, then the -4, -2 becomes -4, +2. Basically, you're just flipping it, and whatever the y-coordinate is, it becomes the opposite of that. So if it was +2, it would become -2. If it's -2, becomes +2. Okay, and then median we reviewed last time. You put numbers in an ascending order, or order of that they're going up, and you find the median, which is the middle number. If you count the number of numbers that you have. So if you have like 12 numbers, you're gonna have, I guess, 5 numbers on each side and 2 in the middle. So you would get the average of the 2 in the middle, the 2 numbers in the middle. If the 2 numbers in the middle were like 10 and 12, then the number that's the median of that set of numbers would be 11. If the 2 middle numbers were 15 and 20, the median would be 17 and a half. So it's just the average of those 2 middle numbers of that set. If you have an odd number of numbers, like 11 numbers, then you would have 5 on each side and 1 in the middle. So you would need to take an average because you already have it. So just whatever the middle number was, it would be the median. So median is not an average of that set. It's just the number that happens to fall in the middle, because you could have a repeated number of numbers in a set. Like in statistics, you could have 5 5s, 3 2s, whatever's. And a statistic is a numerical measurement that tells us information about a sampling or a sample. So if you did an experiment, got a bunch of numbers as data, as results of that experiment, that would be your statistics about that experiment. In a statistical term, a convenience sample is a sample that is convenient or easy to obtain. That's what it's called. Let's see. I just figured this out. Thank you, Ruben, for Googling it. Okay, if you have a list of numbers, these are the lists: 2, 4, 7, 8, 9, 11, 14, 15, 17, 18, 20, 22, 24, for example. What is the probability of choosing 2 even numbers? So what you do, the probability, you count the number of even numbers, which in this case is 8 numbers are even, divided by the whole set of numbers, which is there are 13 numbers, even and odd. So 8 over 13, and then since you're trying to find 2 even numbers, you have to multiply by. So what you do is, this was the part that kind of is tricky, but you have to subtract 1. So since you already used 1 even number, for the second even number you go 8 minus 1 and 13 minus 1 for the denominator. So you're going to multiply 8 over 13 times 7 over 12. And that's going to give you the probability of finding 2 even numbers in that set. So, I mean, you could do the same for odd or whatnot. So this gives us, in this case, 56 over 156, which is the product of 8 over 13 times 7 over 12. And then you reduce that to simplify it to 14 over 39 is the probability. Okay. The answer, again, is 14 over 39, which is the probability of choosing 2 even numbers in the set. We're going to try it with the odd numbers in the set. What is the probability of choosing 2 odd numbers from this set? So you have 13 numbers in this given set, right? That's an example. So you know the denominator is going to be 13 the first time and 12 the second time. Like if they ask you for 3 odd numbers, you would have 3 numbers being multiplied, and the third one, the denominator would be 11, because you would take another away. Then the odd numbers, you count the number of odd numbers. In this case, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 numbers. So 6 over 13 times 5 over 12 times 4 over 11, for example, if you're finding 3 odd numbers. And you get the probability of finding 3 odd numbers. So you divide